Welcome to the show. I'm so excited you're here. I haven't had a guest in a while, and I have a very special one today. It is actually a newer sort of budding relationship that she and I have. We met at a coffee connection through Alex Canavan, who owns the C&Y Women's Network, and hit it off. And I knew right then, I was like, I got to have her in my upcoming program for March. So, more on that in just a second. Elena is a certified holistic health coach and a certified life coach. She helps women who want to get healthier and become the best and healthiest version of themselves to do it in a very realistic and sustainable way. She helps them develop habits and routines in the areas of nutrition, mindset, and movement in a way that works for them while helping them feel more empowered, confident, and in control of their health and their life. Let's say hello to Elena. Elena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You are, like me, open minded and wanting to transform.
Yes,
Do you consider yourself a lifelong learner? Because I certainly do.
100%. Like that is my hobby, which sounds so silly, but like at night, and I don't know if I should be sharing this or not, but like at night, instead of watching, I mean, I watch TV too, but like
Yeah.
sometimes instead of watching TV, I mean, I'm more like listening to podcasts and watching YouTube videos. Yes, 100% like lifelong learner. I just love it. I really do in all areas, anything self-development, health, relationships, business, anything. I love all of it. So yeah, for
Yes.
sure.
I've got you on the show today to open up my listeners' ears to the world of holistic health from the angle of nutrition. And I know that you also have a fitness background too. That is a layer that really I haven't spoken about. So I'm so
Mhm.
excited to layer in a different texture. And you're going to be stepping into the Rise Holistic Empowerment
Yeah.
membership. You guys, Elena's coming in to guide us through something very special. We'll talk about that in just a moment, and I'll let you just open up and let us gush over what's coming because it is really quite a program you've developed. How did you come to the world of health and fitness? Were you like always a health
Yeah.
nut, or did you just stumble upon it?
Yeah. So I will say, yes, I guess I would call myself always a health nut, but not always in the best way. So really for me, my journey started when I was back in as early as middle school. That's as far back as I can remember. And it actually started because I really didn't have a whole lot of confidence, as a middle school girl. And I was a little bit bigger than a lot of my friends. And I started just wanting to lose weight. I looked around me. I grew up in the 90s, like everyone at that time, it seemed, was on some type of weight loss mission, whether it was Weight Watchers or, my parents, my relatives, everyone was. So from that place of just like really lacking confidence, and what I look back now and realize is not liking myself and wanting other people to like me, thinking that would solve that problem, I was like, oh, you just lose weight and that happens. Amazing.
Yeah.
So I really approached it back then from that place. And it really kind of sent me on really a disastrous path for quite a while. So I had a lot of disordered eating habits. I struggled with emotional eating, overeating, binge eating, all the things. And I really, to your question, was a health nut, but like in a nutty way. Like I
Yeah.
researched, I obsessed. I was like working out all, at my house while I was watching TV because I just from this desperate place wanted to like get skinny.
Yeah.
So after doing that for many years and really not ever accomplishing my goal, my weight was up and down because I was a mess inside. I had kind of, and that was, like I said, when I in middle school. So I really struggled for like 15 years or so with the up and down. And at one point had gained, like 35 pounds in a year and a half just because of what was going on with my life. And I didn't know how to like own that at that time. And then I had like a few different kind of pivotal life experiences that really opened my eyes to some different areas. One was actually learning like what nutrition was. Like I had been reading about it for so long, but it was more in with the lens through the lens of how do I lose that weight? It wasn't like what is actual nutrition, food that fuels us, and actually learning about like how to take care of myself. And then the weight falls off when you do that. So
Right.
it's that was one thing. The biggest shift for me was learning about psychology and mindset and how our thinking literally drives all things. And that was something that was missing from the majority of our journey. Like I didn't even start learning about that until, maybe 10 years ago. So that piece of it, those were the two biggest ones, was really like learning what nutrition actually was, learning how I was not actually caring and taking care of myself. I was just trying to lose weight. And then that last piece was the psychology and the mindset. So when I introduced all of those into what I already was doing, which was, trying to eat healthy and working out, and then brought in those aspects, I created my program and my process, which eventually helped me, lose over 30 pounds, keep it off for 8 years. And that's really what I help my clients with now. And kind of back to your point before, I started off actually doing personal training because that was the first point where I was like, how can I help people with this? I had come so far in my journey and I was like, okay, what can I get into? And my first thought was personal training. So I started training clients in gyms, very traditionally. I did some online. And, my clients were coming to me with all of these other challenges, whether that was with relationship, work. They wanted to know, more about nutrition, go deeper, wanted to talk more about, emotional eating and all that. And I was like, I feel like I need some certification and just more knowledge and experience to be able to talk to these things. So then I got certified as a holistic health coach through the Institute for Integrative Nutrition. So started, incorporating that for a while. And then lastly, I got certified as a life coach as well, which really, and that was based on my journey because I was introduced to life coaching and it really helped me, like I was mentioning, with that mindset and kind of that psychology piece that was really just so eye-opening. So now I have all the certifications and I bring them into the program that I use with my clients. I don't do personal training anymore, but I do bring that experience and that knowledge to talk with my clients through how can we incorporate movement that's really going to be effective, enjoyable, and help you get the results you want and maintain them.
It sounds like those two pieces were pivotal of understanding what nutrition actually is and that mindset in psychology. And that is something that, I admittedly don't know a lot about. I like to think that I know something about nutrition, but when you actually sit down and start to learn from someone like you realize there is so much to know. Do you have any sort of tips or tricks to keep yourself focused?
I like to break it down into a really simple kind of 3 pillars. One of them would be we want to be eating like in a balanced way. So that would mean that when I say balance, I mean like we want to be eating a combination of macronutrient groups. So in every meal, every snack, we want to be shooting for at least 2 out of the 3. So your proteins, your complex carbohydrates, so those are your carbohydrates with fiber, ideally like your fruits and vegetables. And then we want to get in healthy fats. So that's like one piece of it. If every meal or snack you were having at least two out of those 3 of those, you're going to be doing likely way better off than you are now if you're not doing that. And then combined with the other 2 pillars. So the second one would be eating the amount of fuel your body needs. So basically, I'm sure many of your listeners and you've heard of like calories in, calories out,
Yes.
eating in a deficit. Figuring out in some way, there are various ways to do this. Of course, like calorie counting is one of them. I don't do that often with my clients. I more teach them how to identify hunger cues and like eat to the point of feeling content and not full or past full. But eating to the point where like when we're hungry and stopping before we're full and eating based off hunger cues. So eating what your body needs, as well as learning how to not overeat, to not emotionally eat, to not mindlessly eat. If you're doing that in combination with that first piece, which is eating a combination of macronutrient groups, and then thirdly, we want to be eating mindfully. We want to be paying attention to what's going into our mouth, making sure that we want it there, making sure we like our reason, and incorporating that kind of in your day-to-day. And then the last thing that I want to mention too is I always encourage 80 to 90% of what we're eating of our diet as a whole is whole, clean, unprocessed foods. So those are, if you flip over a label, and if you're someone brand new to this, the easiest way you can do that is start looking at your labels and start evaluating how many of the foods that I'm eating have a label at all, because of course, like fruits, vegetables, single ingredient proteins, we want to get closer to eating more of those things. They're likely not going to have a label, but anything in a bag, in a package, in a box, totally fine if we eat some of those things, but start flipping that label over and look at your ingredients. I think a lot of times we're trained to look at the nutrition label, like how much fat, how many calories.
Yes.
But really, I say that I almost look at the ingredients first because I don't care about the anything else. If I look at the ingredients and it's a mile long, there's 100 things in that ingredient
Right.
label,
You see
which
that
there
all the
are some
time.
foods. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
would say like that's a great starting point is just start flipping it over. And if you don't know what you're looking for, look for things that you recognize or that you can pronounce and look for things that you don't. I always say that if our brain can't understand it, our gut can't either. So if
Mm,
it's like
love that.
some really long word and we have no idea what it is, just Google it. Likely it's going to be some additive or preservative, you know, random occasions that may be some unique fruit or vegetable. Likely that's not the case though. It's probably going to be some crazy chemical or additive or preservative that you're going to Google and be shocked what it is and what's in our food. So those are kind of the main pillars that I like to focus on. And when you focus on those, if you're metabolically healthy and you don't have any other, major health challenges, you're going to find it a lot easier to, if weight loss is your goal, lose the weight, keep it off, but also feel really good in the day to day. If anyone struggles with any hormonal challenges, you're going to have it's going to be so much easier to balance your hormones and do all these other things if you're following those concepts. So, yes, there are lots of great sources out there, but really, I think sometimes it's simpler than we think it is because
Yes.
there's so much of, the media coming at us like, don't eat this, stay away from that, don't do this. And it's like, I see, you probably do too, like reels all the time. People are like, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to eat or touch anything because like I don't know what to do because
Yeah.
everything's bad now. And it's
Yes.
like you
It's
could find
frustrating.
you could find evidence for that for anything. But it's like if you look at that to start, look at those 4 areas, you can see significant improvements. And we cover all of them. I know we're going to touch on this a little bit, in the reset that we're going to do in your membership
Yeah,
too.
amazing. I love your pillars so much. And they do that exactly. They do simplify, and it gives you these beautiful guidelines that are really simple. And
Mm-hmm.
I love that the last, like the number 2 and level number 3, had that psychology piece of eating to fuel what your body needs and
Mm-hmm.
eating mindfully. That's that mind body piece of, to me, that reads empowerment all the way. Know what you
Yes.
need, know what you don't need,
Yep.
question it, like get into a new relationship. Elena, what does this all mean to you in relationship to empowerment? How important is diet to having an empowered mindset?
So, oh my gosh, it's so much. It's everything. I actually call myself like empowering health and weight loss coach. I help my clients like feel empowered through their weight loss journey because once you have that confidence that like I can figure this out. I know what to do. I know how to do it consistently. I know I will follow through with it. And I know like the basics. I have the tools, the knowledge, the strategies. You feel like you can do anything. I'm sure you've had an experience where it's like you start somewhere and you're like, I don't even know like where to start here, what to do. And then you work with a coach or you read a book and you start to build, your toolbox, your strategies, your just library of resources. And then you're like, okay, I can do this. And you just keep chipping away. And then all of a sudden, you are where you wanted to be. And it's so empowering. And honestly, that was my experience with my journey. Like it was very long, and that's why when I work with my clients, I'm like, I want to shrink that for you. I don't ever want you to have to spend, that much time figuring this out. So my journey was very long, but once I got to, I don't want to say the end of it, because like we said, we're lifelong learners. I'm
Yeah.
always trying to evolve and level up. However, when I got to the point where I'm like, okay, now I have this super consistent, healthy lifestyle, it's like I accomplished something I at one point never thought I could, and that is the best feeling in the entire
Yes.
world. So
Incredible.
I really do like to look at health and weight loss, whatever your goal is when it comes to health, is it can truly be a growth experience. It can be like such an empowering journey. And I feel like most of the time you talk to people or you see ads for, a weight loss program or a health program, and it's like you think of the dread and like the struggle. And it's like, but yeah, maybe challenging. But we can also look at it as what are those skills and that strength we're going to build while we go through this. And that's how I really like to look at it.
So I can feel so much of what you're saying there. And that cognitive piece, the awareness piece comes from and fueled from your healthy choices. And you just nailed it. Once you accomplish something, especially so elusive as nutrition for most of us who don't have the certification that you do, you must feel unstoppable because you have
Yeah.
mastered it. You've got it in your head. And as we know, your fuel that comes in through the mouth becomes and makes up the cells in the body, eventually in the brain, your blood, your lymphatic system. And so
Yes.
you really can't get around it. That You become truly what you eat. And this is so awesome because this is why I wanted you to come in. I'm so excited because we really can't become our best versions, I don't think, unless we're truly looking at all of us, the whole
100%.
picture, right? Do you
Yeah.
agree? And
Oh,
this,
150%. Yes.
yes,
Amazing.
yes.
And we can, you and I have probably had this experience, and listeners as well. Like, if you eat a certain breakfast or a certain lunch, you probably, compared to, let's even say, like, maybe you have a bagel or a donut versus like a smoothie or like an egg scramble. And then like an hour later, how do you feel? How are you performing? We
Mm,
know that it's worlds apart. I know me, I want to put my head down on my desk after one thing, and the other
yes,
one, I'm like ready to go, like I can,
absolutely.
again, go back to that kind of handle anything because I fueled myself that morning. So yeah, nutrition is so important for various reasons.
And think
Totally agree.
about how many times we've probably have approached a challenge in our life or an opportunity. And because you fueled or didn't fuel yourself correctly, you're literally going to make a choice that disempowers or empowers you. Have you heard about this data? It's really
I'm
fascinating
not
where
sure.
they were tracking when judges would eat lunch and then
Uh-huh.
map that to the sentencing that they were giving. Were they giving
Okay.
people parole or were they keeping them imprisoned? And what they found was a correlation, of course, but a pretty strong, repeatable correlation that when the judges, after lunch, when they would eat, the paroles shot up, meaning they were much more lenient on someone's sentencing
How
after
interesting.
glucose came in the body. And
Yeah.
depending on what you're eating or what you're not eating, you are
Hmm.
literally going to perceive the world differently. And you're either
Yeah.
going to be a good judge, a lenient judge, or all I know
Yeah.
is if I ever go to jail, I better make sure my trial happens after lunch.
Right, right, for sure. Yeah, and it's like the nutrition, like specifically what you're eating, but also like, are you overeating too? Because
Ooh.
most of us know when you overeat, you feel horrible after. Like, usually you're
Elena,
full, you're uncomfortable.
I'm an overeater. You got to help me.
I can. And that, honestly, like, that was something I struggled with for a very long time. During the week, I would do like really good. I hear this all the time from clients too. And then it would be like Friday at 5, and I'd like overeat through like Sunday at like 10 p.m. and then start all over on Monday morning. So it's like something that I really, really overcame. So I love talking about it. But just kind of back to your point, like, when you do that too, you're just uncomfortable. You're thinking about, when is the day going to be over? When do I get to go to bed? Like, you're not showing up at your best. So that's the
Yes.
other thing that I really love helping my clients through. How can we not do that? How can we make the best food choices? And how can we not do that to help you reach your goals and show up at your absolute best in life?
Where do you stand on dieting versus just feeling good in your body? Because, of course, we want to help people achieve optimal performance. And inside of the Rise membership, where you're going to be leading an incredible challenge, it's not necessarily about becoming anyone new, it's more about reclaiming your power inside
Yeah.
the membership. So, what do you think about that in terms of, are we trying to become someone new through nutrition? Or do you feel like we're uncovering something we lost?
Yeah, yeah, I love that way of wording it too. And I do say, like, becoming the healthiest and best version of yourself, but I'm totally aligned with what you're saying. Like, it's more like stepping into that. Like, you already have it. We already have that best version of ourselves. We're more just stepping into it and like bringing it back in. Maybe we kind of like let some things go and we're just more getting back into it. So I love that way of phrasing it.
Do we want to use different words there, even just for mentally? Do we want to say I'm dieting, or is it I want to eat for nutrition? How do you think about
Yeah. So I would never, the way I actually use the word diet is like the way we eat. My diet is literally just the food I put in my mouth. I don't ever use it in the way of, we're on a diet, you're on a diet. Like, I don't think that's helpful to use it in that way. However, I think the dictionary definition, I know I looked it up at one point, is the way you actually eat, just the sum of foods that you consume. So that's how I look at it, as just a long term, the way I eat. But I totally think that it's more beneficial for most people just to look at it as, I'm eating this way because I want to look, feel, and perform at my best, or whatever your specific goals are. Healthy lifestyle. Like, we're just eating to feel our best and perform at our best. I think that is way more beneficial. It's also way more motivating, and it's way more helpful for like sustainability too. If we're thinking every day, most of us, we're thinking I'm on a diet, you get kind of like that dread, that ugh, that like obligation feeling, and that doesn't drive any
Absolutely.
actions long term that we typically want. So that's where, you know, the mindset comes in, how we're thinking, how we're talking. It makes a huge difference. So
Right.
that's where, yeah, absolutely. If you're thinking more like, do I want to eat this? How is it going to leave me feeling? And then
Mhm.
you compare that, you evaluate that against what your goals are. It's a whole lot easier to make that empowered choice in the moment, even if you're tempted to go and have, you know, the food that you know isn't going to leave you feeling your best. If you think about that, which one am I going to feel better after eating? You're going to make the better choice, or maybe eat less of whatever it is you're choosing because you want to feel a certain way.
Speaking of empowered choice, let's get into your incredible, juicy challenge that's coming up.
Yeah.
So, you graciously are leading us through your signature 7-day health reset. Why would someone want to join this challenge?
I created this a ways back, several years back, can't even remember. But truly, what it comes down to is it gives you a way to feel better physically, emotionally, and mentally in 1 week, in 7 days. And I created it initially because it's a great way to like reset your body, mind, and taste buds. So for me, it would be I was doing this after I would like go on a vacation or go hang out at my sister's for a week, and we were like eating out a lot, having more wine than usual, all of the things. And I got home and I was like, oh, I just want to bridge the gap between where I am now and where I want to be in my ongoing healthy lifestyle. So to do that, I would say 1 week, I'm going to hone in on my healthy habits, like 100% healthy habits, self-care, you know, doing all of the things that I know leave me feeling, thinking, performing at my best. So that's where the 7 day health reset came from. Normally, in, you know, my lifestyle, and usually when I work with clients, it's like an 80-20, a 90-10 ratio. You know, we leave room for fun and you know, the things we enjoy that maybe aren't fueling us, of course, but there is that leeway there. During these 7 days, we really are honing in, and we are trying to be as close to 100% as we can, just because we know at the end of that week we are going to feel amazing, like we talked about before. And then we make those choices. How much of these things do we want in our lives? How much don't we? So that's what really where it came from, what it's for, is really to just feel amazing after 1 week, and then kind of give yourself a chance to reset. What do I want to do? Where do I want to go from here? So back to the other thing you said, like I 100% did not create this, or don't want it to be looked at as a fad diet, crash diet. That is not the point. It's to really bridge that gap and help you again, like take that step back and evaluate, what do I want to do next? And that's what, you know, we're going to talk through in the challenge as well.
Oh, wow. I cannot wait to do this with you and everyone else inside the Rise membership.
Mhm.
So, guys, as you're listening, check below this video or check below the audio. If you're listening via podcast, there's going to be links to join. It's hosted inside of the Rise membership. And by the way, right now there's a 2-week free trial inside. So you can get in. And then after that, it's $49 a month where you get access to this challenge with Elena and the group, but also you get
Mhm.
replay access. So guess what? You could do it again.
So there is a component to this. It's actually like somewhat of a mini version of an elimination diet, because for the first 5 days, we do eliminate anything that's inflammatory, that I've seen inflammatory often for my clients. So for the first 5 days, we do that. And then days 5 through 7, we reintroduce those foods. So you don't necessarily need to do that every month or, you
Got
know,
it.
repeatedly. I would say you don't really need to do that more than once or twice a year, because likely if you have a challenge with a certain food, that's going to stay for a period of time. But 100%, you can just hone in on all of these other habits we're going to be working on during the reset anytime. I for sure, you can do
Incredible.
it once a month, you can do it once every couple of months, whenever you just feel you're ready for it. And that's what I do it all the time. You know, I'm like, you know what? I just need a reset right now. My body needs a reset.
You
I'm
could
going
just
to go
feel
back
it.
to this. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
just feel it. And you always feel so good when you're done. And the group component of it is so powerful. Like anytime, you know, I ran a challenge in the past, like I always get such amazing feedback, because people love just really going off that energy from others that are doing it, you know, sharing what they're doing that morning, and, you know, everything else, like that motivation, that momentum is just really there when you have the group. So it's really fun.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And actually, I just created a private community space inside of the Rise membership. So now, guys, when you join, you are going to see exactly what Elena's saying. You're going to all go through it together and complete the days. And Kajabi does a great job at even gamifying it. So like when you hit done, completed the challenge,
Mhm.
it throws little balloons and stuff, which is so important because we all
Yeah.
want that little carrot at the end of the stick. Like, good job, pat on the back. One of the barriers that some of my clients always come against is, will I have time to do this? So is this a lot of work we got to be doing every single day?
So that's where the mindset comes in. So if there's a will, there's a way. We can 100% make this work with any lifestyle. I promise you, because I have clients who have, been working 3 jobs, or maybe they have a very demanding job. I've done it in the middle of a move, like all the things. We can 100% make it work. So I would say that that's the first thing. Like, take a look at that. If we have any thoughts around, I'm not going to be able to do this, I'm not going to have the time. Let's take a look at that thinking and really question, is that serving me? Is this helpful in any way? Likely the answer is no.
Yeah.
Because that's the first piece. But the second, to answer your question specifically, it doesn't have to take a ton of time at all. And the resources that I've provided is really a full guide. I've even provided, sample meal plans. I've provided a sample week. You could literally just follow that to a T and do that. So it can be super uncomplicated. It does not have to take a ton of time. Now, of course, then I have had participants who want to create their own unique, specific meal plan for every single meal and have something gourmet at every meal. That could take you some time. I'm not going to lie, but you don't have to do that. You can keep it really, really simple. When it comes to food, like, we are eating what I talked about before. We were going back to basics. We are eating our fruits, our vegetables, our clean proteins, and our healthy fats. If you literally just do that at every meal and every snack, it can take you less time than it's probably taking you now to eat and cook if
Oh
you
my
simply
God, that's
follow those
amazing.
guidelines. We're
Okay.
moving our body every day. So that can be, a workout you're already doing. It can be just making sure that you're taking time to walk throughout the day. Start with where you are with what you have. So it does not have to take a million hours or time. There's some journaling prompts I include, but I also say, if you're not going to carve out 15 minutes to write these down in a notebook, like I encourage, you can do it in your head on your way to work. And it's 7 days. We can do anything for 7 days. And then you get to decide, what do I love? What can I pass on? And what do I want to continue into the future?
Okay, so no excuses, guys.
No
I am
excuses.
calling you
None.
out right now. I love it. Thank you for calling us out like that. No excuses. We're gonna do this.
A typical day on the reset, which is something that I did break down in the PDF guide too, is you're waking up in the morning, start your day with like a lemon water, or what I call a detox shots. That's something you can make ahead of time. Lemon water, super easy, takes 2 seconds, or just water. You want to skip the lemon? Totally fine. So we have that. And then, we have our 3 meals that are all working around that template that I shared. So it's the healthy fats, the proteins, the complex carbohydrates. And then we are moving our body every day. So we are incorporating some type of exercise. We have 5 to 10 minutes of journal prompts that are really just recommitting, redeciding, focusing on our motivation, celebrating any small win that we have, because it shifts our mind in just a different direction than sometimes how we wake up. And then the other piece that is broken down in there as well is really that intentionality and that mindset aspect. It's going through your day and you're eating in this way. So it really heightens your awareness of sometimes some habitual snacking you may be doing, some emotional eating that you may be doing, some mindless eating that you may be doing, some overeating that you may be doing, because you have this specific guide you're following. So like when you're maybe in a break room and there's donuts, they're not on your plan, but they're there. And maybe normally you just go grab one without even thinking about it. Today, you are questioning that. And you're like, wait a second. I don't want to. Do I want to do this? I'm not doing this today. What am I going to do? And that's where there's a whole section actually in the guide that breaks down handling cravings and urges, because there's a specific process to that. And it's not just avoiding the food like most of us think that it is and using willpower. If you learn how to let like an urge or a craving be there for something like a donut that's sitting on the table when you don't want to eat it, you can use it to not yell at your partner or yell at your kids or do something at work that you don't want to do. It is the same skill. So it is
Amazing.
amazing once you start to develop those things. And I know for myself, I'm a mom. I have an 8-year-old daughter. I use that skill all the time in my parenting.
Incredible. I am so blown away and so grateful by everything you packed into this challenge. This is truly a resource that extends beyond diet and into, as you said, your family, your lifestyle. It gets you thinking differently and fueling your body more healthfully, consciously, all of that. And I am so excited. I cannot wait to get everyone that's inside the Rise membership on board and doing this. So, guys, this is going to start next month in March. So, what you can look forward to and put this in your calendar right now is you can join and step into the Rise membership at any point. And there is a library of resources there for you for all the past replays. There's somatic work, my sacred radical ritual technology, which is a separate energetic embodiment practices. There's meditations and bonus courses as well. And now, as I already mentioned, a private community channel where you're going to get to do Elena's hot to try. I cannot wait on fire challenge. This is going to be amazing. Elena's actually going to be in our live coaching calls inside of the memberships that take place twice a month. The first one is going to be on Wednesday, March 6th, where we actually kick off this health reset challenge. And Elena's going to be there. I'm going to be there. We're going to talk about the challenge, answer any questions that anyone has, and just get the mindset right, get hyped about it, and then dive in officially on Monday, March 11th. So you guys have until Sunday, March 10th to get in the doors for this challenge and join us when we start. Of course, the doors to Rise are always open. You can join at any point, but if you want to get in live with us and get that group motivation, you got to get in before the 11th. Elena, thank you so much for being on the show today. This is so incredible, and I can't wait to get started and dip into this magic of your challenge. Thank you again for being a guest today.
You are welcome. Thanks for having me.